February 15th, 2019, a blue Samsonite suitcase washes up near a wooded roadside in Greenwich, Connecticut. A couple walking their dog stops when they notice the smell. It's heavy, sickly, unforgettable. Inside the suitcase, contorted in the fetal position, her hands bound, mouth gagged with tape, is the body of a young woman. Her name is Valerie Reyes. She was 24, and she never made it home. Valerie was the kind of person who kept her life neat. She worked at Barnes & Noble in Eastchester, New York. She loved poetry, wore oversized sweaters, and lived in a modest basement apartment. She wasn't loud. She wasn't reckless. She didn't take chances. But on January 28th, 2019, Valerie disappeared. That night, she was last seen on surveillance at a Chase Bank in Manhattan at 9:20 p.m. She stood near the ATM but didn't withdraw anything. She looked off, nervous, as if someone was watching. Earlier that day, she had called her mother. "Mom, I don't feel safe. I think someone's going to kill me." Her mother begged her to come stay with her. Valerie said she would. She never showed up. For days, her phone remained silent. Then, on February 5th, 9 days later, her body was discovered stuffed into a suitcase. Duct taped, bruised, lifeless, tossed like garbage. The public was horrified. This wasn't random. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. It was methodical, controlled. Someone had taken their time. Police began combing through Valerie's digital life. Her phone records, her text messages, her emails. Many of them had been deleted, but recovery software unearthed a series of conversations with one man. His name was Javier da Silva. He was 24, an IT technician, quiet, soft-spoken, originally from Venezuela, living in Queens. He and Valerie had dated briefly a year earlier, but she had cut him off after he began acting strangely. She had blocked him, then unblocked him, then blocked him again. A recovered message from January 24th read, "What would you do if I just came over and never left?" She replied, "Please stop texting me. I'm scared of you." Detectives tracked Javier's phone location. On the night Valerie vanished, it pinged in Port Chester, the same area where her phone died, then again near Greenwich, where her body was found. Investigators checked his credit card statements. There it was, a purchase at a local Walmart, a blue, 28-inch Samsonite suitcase, duct tape, cleaning supplies, zip ties. Security footage showed him dragging the suitcase down the hallway of his apartment. He called an Uber, told the driver it was old clothes. He dumped her body on a rural road. Alone, in the cold, Javier didn't run. He stayed in New York. When FBI agents knocked on his door, he let them in, and within 10 minutes he confessed. "I didn't mean to kill her," he told them. She was panicking. "I just wanted her to calm down." He said he tied her up. She screamed. He put tape over her mouth. He sat on her chest to stop her from thrashing, and she stopped. Then he withdrew $1,000 from her bank account using her debit card. He tried to send messages from her phone, pretending she was alive. He even texted her mother, "I just need time. I'll be back soon." But Valerie was already gone. In her journal, written just a week before her death, she had scribbled a chilling line, "If I ever disappear, I didn't run." Javier da Silva pleaded guilty to kidnapping resulting in death. He was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison. Valerie's family sat in silence as the judge read the sentence. Her mother stared at him and said, "You took my baby and you put her in a suitcase." But what the public didn't know is that Javier may not have acted alone. In the weeks following his arrest, another man stepped forward. He claimed Javier wasn't alone that night. He claimed he helped carry the suitcase. And worse, he claimed Valerie may have still been alive when she was zipped inside. Javier da Silva was behind bars. His confession was clear. The case, as far as most people were concerned, was closed. But just 3 weeks after his sentencing, something strange happened. An anonymous tip came into the FBI's New York office. A man claimed he had information about Valerie Reyes' death. Details that had never been made public. He wouldn't give his name. Only a message. Javier wasn't alone that night. Investigators followed protocol. They traced the call. The source was a man named Diego Campos, a 27-year-old acquaintance of Javier's from the same apartment building in Queens. No criminal record. Lived alone. Worked nights at a warehouse. They brought him in for questioning. At first, Diego denied everything. He said he hadn't seen Javier in months. But when agents showed him surveillance stills from January 29th, photos they hadn't released to the public, his story changed. He leaned forward, voice trembling. I didn't kill her. I didn't touch her. But I saw her. Diego claimed Javier had called him in a panic late that night. He said he needed help, said it was an accident. According to Diego, he went to Javier's apartment and found him pacing the floor. Valerie was tied up in the corner, gagged. Her eyes were still open. She was breathing. He said, barely, but she was alive. Diego claimed Javier told him they couldn't go to the police, that it was too late. And then, together, they put her in the suitcase. It was a horrifying claim, and one that changed everything. If Valerie was still alive when she was stuffed into that suitcase, the charge changed from a murder by panic to something far more disturbing. Something deliberate, prolonged, torturous. The FBI began reinvestigating the timeline. They pulled apartment surveillance again. An additional shadow appears behind Javier on the camera. Someone else dragging a bag. A figure that had been dismissed before. Diego wasn't lying. He was there. But here's where the story fractures. Because 3 days after his confession, Diego Campos vanished. He quit his job, cleared out his apartment, left no forwarding address. His phone pinged once, along a bus route to Montreal, Canada. And then, nothing. No sightings. No calls. No credit card use. Almost as if someone or something made him disappear. And in a final twist, the FBI found a note in Diego's locker at work. Folded and signed, one sentence written in blue ink. She wasn't supposed to die like that. The vanishing witness. You said, Diego Campos was gone. Vanished without a trace just days after confessing he helped move Valerie Reyes' body. The FBI labeled him a material witness. A warrant was issued. His name added to border alerts. But weeks turned into months. No sign. No activity. Not even his family had heard from him. But then, something strange surfaced. A man in Toronto walked into a second-hand electronics store, trying to sell an old, scratched-up iPhone. The clerk, just doing his job, ran a routine serial number check. The phone was flagged. It belonged to Diego Campos. Local authorities were alerted, but by the time they arrived, the man was gone. The store's CCTV footage showed him wearing a hoodie, face mostly hidden, but the build matched. So did the walk. The man left behind only one thing, a folded slip of paper jammed between the phone and the case. It read, the suitcase wasn't the first. The FBI reopened every missing persons case in Westchester County from the previous 5 years, then the cases in Queens. They cross-referenced unsolved disappearances of women between the ages of 18 and 30. Within a week, they found something. A Jane Doe, found in 2016, in a storage unit, inside a duffel bag, wrapped in plastic. Cause of death undetermined. The case had gone cold, until now. But then came the most chilling detail. That Jane Doe? She was last seen leaving the same Barnes and Noble where Valerie Reyes worked. And someone else connected to that store had vanished in 2017. No one had ever linked the disappearances. Until now, as agents built a new timeline, one fact became impossible to ignore. Javier da Silva wasn't just a jealous ex. He may have been something else entirely. And Diego Campos, missing silent, maybe even dead, might be the only one left who knows the full truth. Because inside Valerie's recovered journal, on a torn page tucked deep between entries, investigators found name, scrawled in ink, unfinished. It read, Javier and D. Valerie Reyes' case was no longer a tragic one-off. It was a thread unraveling something darker. 2 other women, both missing, both last seen near Valerie's world, both found in bags. No official cause of death. no suspects, and now a name D, half written in Valerie's journal. It wasn't a coincidence. Investigators went deeper. They pulled employee records from the Barnes and Noble where Valerie worked. One stood out. Danica Moore, hired 2015, quit abruptly in 2016, reported missing weeks later by her roommate. Her case file had been sitting dormant. No body ever found. No evidence. Just a note left behind in her apartment. I think he's following me again. Agents dug through Danica's online accounts. Most were inactive, but one email account had been accessed from a library computer in Montreal. They rushed to the IP address. Too late. The terminal had been wiped. A security guard reported someone paranoid-looking, wearing gloves, scarf, and sunglasses, had used it the night before. He left behind a flash drive, taped under the desk. The FBI analyzed it. Just one file. A video. It opened on a dark room. Concrete walls. A single hanging light bulb. The footage was shaky, but it showed bags. Suitcases, lined up against the wall. A voice whispered from behind the camera. She wasn't the first. You never asked about the others. Then static. Then black. Digital forensics tried to trace it. No metadata. No GPS. Nothing. And then one last twist. Inside the flash drive casing was a sliver of paper, burned at the edge. Only a fragment readable. I watched him, but I didn't stop him. The FBI now believes Javier de Silva wasn't working alone, that there may be others, a ring, a pact, maybe something even more terrifying, something that used trust as bait, something that turned familiarity into death. Valerie Reyes wasn't just a victim of a jealous ex. She might have been prey in a hunting ground no one ever realized existed. And the man who may hold the truth, Diego Campos, is still out there, watching, waiting, maybe ready to speak, or maybe already silenced. But one thing is certain. Valerie's case opened the door. Now the question is, what's waiting on the other side? In memory of Valerie Reyes and all victims whose stories remain unheard, if you or someone you know feels unsafe, speak up before silence becomes the only thing left.